Hey everyone, this is Gleb Bakhmutov. Cypress includes Synon.js library and Synon.js chai library, and it's super powerful because the tests have direct access to functions, which means you can spy and stub real application code and make all sorts of assertions from your end-to-end tests. One example that I want to give is if you have a constructor, let's say this person, and the application code is calling this constructor, how to confirm that. So imagine there is this person, and at some point the application is calling that constructor, let's say after a second in this case, and it says, okay, person Joe, maybe 10 years old. And maybe it saves it on the window object. So I'll say wind kid is kid. And this window object is just something that I use in the test to show um, how you could share an object with the test from the application window space by using the window object. But because this example runs in the same window, I'm using a dummy object. Okay, so application is calling this constructor, and notice I forgot the new keyword, and I'm gonna check it later, but so I'll say win. I'll say new person and give parameters. And okay, so now let's try and confirm that the person constructor is actually called correctly. So one thing we want to do, we want to set up a spy on the window object, which is this window object. In reality, you could get it using window command. And the property is person, which is a function, and I'll give it an alias person. And usually application code executes in response to an event like a click, network call, things like that. But in this case, it just executes this code after a second. So if we set up a spy, the spy is created and then this code is executed. So we can later say, get me that alias, and it should have been called. Let's see if this is true. Perfect. The test passes. We can see that our spy was really called with argument Joe and the number 10. And we can confirm the arguments by saying called with, Synon Chai's excellent library. We can say Joe 10 if we know the exact values. If we don't, for example, if we know that Joe is a string and we know value Joe, and the second argument is a number, we can say Cypress Synon match, I think number. And okay, perfect. So it was called with Joe and a number. So one thing that I sometimes do, I forget the new keyword, and notice that function was still called, right, in the application JavaScript, but we forgot new. When you forget new, then this variable inside the constructor, instead of pointing at the new instance of an object, it points at the global. And that causes all sorts of problems. They're hard to debug. So if application code doesn't check that, then we can check it ourselves. So what we need to do, we can either use this getPerson, or we can get it again. Let's say we get this alias, and we'll say its first call. One thing I like doing is like printing the stub or spy to the command console. And I can see that from Synon we can get all sorts of information about the function spy or stub. For example, the arguments to this call, Joe 10. You can also see this value. What was the value of this reference during that call? So it shows that it's kind of weird. Notice it's a global, right, object. It's not just the instance. And the way we can verify this is by saying, say, this value, right, should, and chai includes this, be instance of, and this should be an instance of the constructor function, right? And right now it fails because it's not. We forgot the new keyword when we called it. And if we put it back correctly, if we fix our JavaScript, then this value is an instance of a constructor function, which is excellent. Last thing we can verify is the object that it has constructed. So I'll say, okay, wrap the window object. Again, this is equivalent to say window command in regular code. We can say should have property keyed, right? To confirm that the keyed property was set eventually. And this yields the value of a property, which is an object. And we can say should have keys, and the only keys it should have is name and age, right? Which is the two properties that we set inside the constructor. By the way, that's another way to confirm that if you accidentally forget the new keyword and you don't check the constructor instance, then the object will be incorrect. It will have a lot more properties because it's a global window object. So we are better than that. We use the new keyword. So the object created by that constructor and return to the calling code does have name and age. And maybe we know the name, but not the age. We can say should say deep include name Joe, for example. And we don't know the age, but we know it's there. So this is how you would use a spy in Cypress to confirm that a constructor function was called correctly using the new JavaScript keyword and with the object created has expected values. I'm gonna put link to the website with this recipe in the description of this video.